Welcome to another edition of World Talks here on TVP World. I'm your host, Benjamin Lee, and please join me and my guests on this next interview. As NATO's military committee gathers in Riga, tensions on the alliance's eastern flank are intensifying. The launch of Operation Eastern Sentry and recent drone incursions over Danish airspace point to a shifting security landscape, one where European nations may need to shoulder more of the defense burden as U.S. involvement fluctuates. Now, joining us today on TVP World to explore these developments is Aurimas Navys, a retired Lithuanian Special Forces officer and seasoned defense strategist. Hello, sir, and welcome to TVP World.
Good morning. Thank you for inviting me and having me here.
So lots been happening for the past few days, and I would like to start with the Operation Eastern Sentry. And what does that signal about NATO's evolving priorities when it comes to the eastern flank?
I think, first of all, it was having in mind the drones that were over Poland and the initial reaction of alliance. It's the shift from that, thinking about not escalating situation with Russia, saying that it was probably like a technical failure of drones, and then shifting, to the other side, and the next day announcing about this, we can call it non-Article 5 operation, or rather they call it mission, Baltic Sentry. This signs that NATO is actually now viewing all these threats that we have on eastern flank as real. So I think it's a good that communication has changed, and strategic communication is very important. But we also should have in mind that Russia understands actions, hard actions. So talkings, discussions, saying that we're ready to down Russian aircrafts or air threats, not enough. We have to act. And jets and fighters and ships in Baltic Sea, that's the language that Putin in Kremlin understands.
All right, well, looking at these drone incursions into Danish airspace, I think the first time when it happened, a lot of people have their theories about whether or not these are isolated incidents. But just last night, Danish airport in northern Aalborg was once again closed from Thursday to Friday evening, again due to reports of suspicious drones. At what point do we draw the line and start considering these to be very deliberate hybrid attacks and actions?
First, I'd like to say that drones over Poland and the incident in Copenhagen airport, they are slightly different in a way that in Poland we actually we saw that and we knew that it's Russian drones that probably simulates so-called shaheds. So in Russian they are Gerberas. They are just imitating the drones, but actually Russian drones. And later we found that they were with Lithuanian and Polish SIM cards. So it actually said to us that this was Russian provocation. Now in Copenhagen, I don't think that we have enough information to conclude that this was a Russian provocation. And also we have in mind that these were actually FPV drones or quadrocopters. So it's not like Gerberas or that imitates shaheds. But on the other hand, when we think about that, of course we can turn to Kremlin because Russia, actually the only country or evil axis with China and North Korea probably, but Russia, it has the argument to do all of those provocations and escalation, hoping that NATO countries in Europe, they would at least think about themselves and how to combat these drones, how to combat the threats that they now are facing. And by doing this, they would keep all the technologies, all the equipment needed to combat those drones and do not support, or at least support at the lesser scale, Ukraine. And that's the thinking in Kremlin. If we can, do some hybrid warfare things in NATO countries in Europe, then they will stop support or lessen their support to Ukraine, and they keep their equipment, they keep their air defenses potentially to themselves. And also, of course, we have to talk about money that we should spend on intelligence, on secret services, and of course on security services that now have to double or maybe triple protection of airports here in Europe, and not just in the eastern flank like Baltic states or Poland, but also as well further on to the west like Denmark.
Right, and we're also looking at, of course, Poland as well as other Eastern flank countries trying to boost up countermeasures when it comes to defending against these type of drones. Deputy Prime Minister and National Defense Minister Władysław Kosiniak-Kamysz also announced that he will be participating with video calls with other Eastern flank generals and decision leaders to enshrine this concept of a drone wall. And well, in your expert opinion, what would that entail? Well, how would it realistically be established?
It's actually hard to say. We will see. We've seen, in recent months and years, so many discussions and talkings, and so little actions. I hope that this time we'll see some actions. And I know already that, for example, Poland, they're sending experts and military advisors to Ukraine, and they are consulting with Ukraine. And what you mentioned, the wall of drones, on this matter with Ukraine soldiers, with Ukraine military who are actually fighting the Russians, that they know that how to do that in the real world, unfortunately fighting the war. So if the knowledge and the competencies and the experience will be taken from the Ukrainian military and from the those experts who are fighting Russian drones, and it will be transferred to the at least to Polish experts, and they will start doing something, actually doing, I hope so, then of course it will be a very, very serious signal to Putin and to Kremlin, and also to other nations like here in Lithuania, in Latvia and Estonia, probably all the Baltic states that we have. Also, not just talk, because here in Lithuania we talk about wall of drones. That's obvious, but talkings aren't enough. So I hope that this would somehow bolster those nations here and my nation as well on eastern flank to do something and to establish the wall of drones and take that experience from Ukraine, because they are who are the best, at least for now.
Right, and hardware-wise, what would that look like when we imagine a drone wall? Are we thinking small arms? Are we thinking advanced technology or drones to counter drones? Equipment, what does it entail?
Wall of drones actually is like a swarm of drones that are used against drones. So you're right, it's counter drone measures, counter drones. That, of course, entail everything else, like in technology, radar system, electronic warfare, and all those things. It's a complex countermeasures, but the idea is to have them close to the border, or just near the border, or on the border, and to actually use them against the potential air threats. Not just the, as I mentioned, those Gerbera drones that are imitators or imitation of Shaheds, but also for FPV drones. And Ukrainians, they are using these drone swarms or counter drones in real warfare, and it actually works. So why not to do this here on eastern flank?
All right, and this year's NATO military committee also comes at the backdrop of potential the U.S. contributing a bit less than it used to. Well, with Washington having let Europe take more of the burden, do you think that these sort of projects will have gaps to them, seeing that counter-drone measures not as cheap as just flinging drones into the eastern flank or any other countries?
As I said, I think not just Baltic states, not just Poland, but now Denmark, Scandinavian countries, they realize this threat and from Russia. And I think more and more nations here in Europe, NATO countries, they actually will be more willing to spend on securing eastern flank and to actually give some answer to Kremlin. Of course, it's difficult to forecast what the military committee will decide. We'll see. I don't like usually to speculate on what will be. We'll see.
Right. And last but not least, of course, information is just coming out, but maybe a little bit of speculation here as well, where there's hundreds of U.S. generals, admirals around the globe have been called to Virginia for a meeting with Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. Now, a lot of information is still under wraps, and there's kind of rumors about potentially being a fitness check or even firing. Do we know anything about it yet?
Actually, I don't know. I can't comment on this. That's the news for me.
Right. So yeah, we do see a lot of movement on this front as well. So thank you so much for your input and insight and helping us understand more about these drone initiatives as well. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And thank you for watching this edition of World Talks. For more news, update, and commentary, stay tuned to TVP World.